In September 1991, the same week Nevermind hit the shelves, Guitar World sat down with Kurt Cobain to talk about gear. And what they got was one of the great accidental comedy routines in music journalism. It starts with a fair question. Cobain played famously cheap guitars, and the interviewer wanted to know if he favored low-end models. And Kurt's answer was, "I don't favor them, I can afford them." See, he was left-handed, and cheap and decent lefty guitars barely existed, so he just played what was out there and available. But there was one guitar that really had his heart. Out of all the guitars in the world, the Fender Mustang is my favorite. He had owned exactly 2 of them. And then he explained why he loved it, and the explanation was a demolition. They're cheap and totally inefficient, and they sound like crap and are very small. They also don't stay in tune. And raising the string action meant loosening every string, pulling the entire bridge, and turning tiny screws with your fingers while hoping you guess right. If you guess wrong, and you have to start over. And then he said this line, "Whoever invented that guitar was a dork." And the interviewer replied with 4 words. It was Leo Fender. Of course, if you're familiar with guitars, Leo Fender was the man behind the Telecaster, the Stratocaster, the Precision Bass, and yes, the Mustang, as well as many, many other guitars. And he was a legend in his own right, and he had just died that March, 6 months before this conversation. But Cobain did not backpedal. "I guess I'm calling Leo Fender, the dead guy, a dork. Now I'll never get an endorsement." He was joking, but really only halfway, because in the next breath he mentioned that Gibson had already offered him an endorsement and he had passed. His reason was, "I can't find a Gibson I like." So here was one of the hottest new guitarists in America waving off the industry like a telemarketer. And I bet you're wondering what Fender thought about all of this once they finally read the interview. Well, what did they do? They built his dream guitar, actually. In 1993, Cobain sketched a mashup of his 2 favorite Fenders, the Jaguar and the Mustang. And Fender's custom shop developed it with him. He called it the jag-stang. He died before it went into production, but Fender released it anyway. One of the only posthumous signature models in guitar history, and then reissued it in 2021 for Nevermind's 30th anniversary, along with signature versions of his Jaguar and his beloved Mustang. And as for that cheap, totally inefficient guitar that sounds like crap, in May 2022, Cobain's 1969 competition Mustang, the one from the Smells Like Teen Spirit video itself, it sold at auction for $4.5 million. The estimate was $600,000. At the time of this video, it is the most anyone has ever paid for a Cobain guitar, and part of the money did go to mental health charities, so that's good. So the Dork's little student guitar became the most expensive piece of grunge history ever sold, and the guy who thought he would never get an endorsement ended up with one from beyond the grave.